Anakin manages to make it through the blockade, but they take damage. Anakin safely crash lands the ship away from the capital in the swamplands. Padme's uncle Seo is contacted by the assassin again, who tells him to order the planet's defenses to stand down. Seo begins to protest, but is quickly shut down. The invasion forces begin landing on Naboo. Padme's group escape the sinking wreckage and make it to land. 2 fighters crash down after them. Their pilots also escape. Padme's group travel through the forest when the pilots catch up with them and attack. The 2 Jedi take out their lightsabers, deflecting the lasers back at the soldiers, killing them. They inspect the dead soldiers, removing their helmets. The 2 men are identical. They realize that this is a clone army. The capital is overtaken by clone soldiers, and the planet's security forces are put in lockdown, except for some rebellious soldiers who flee the city disobeying Seo Amidala. Padme's group continue through the forest when suddenly 2 Gungans appear, holding them at gunpoint. Obi-Wan suggests they use a mind trick. Sharad is surprised by his suggestion, as this is forbidden by the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan, however, tells him it's better than the alternative. Obi-Wan tells the 2 Gungans to leave and forget they saw them. The 2 Gungans obey, but as they walk away, more Gungans appear. Obi-Wan and the group then gives up, and they're all taken prisoner. The Gungan chief deliberates with the elders of the tribe as to their prisoner's fate. Padme speaks to Obi-Wan about the Gungans. She explains the history between their 2 people. Anakin asks whether they can just use the Force to escape, but Obi-Wan advises against it, that violence is a last resort and that the Gungans aren't their enemies, but possibly allies against a larger enemy. Obi-Wan speaks with Padme, giving her advice that mirrors her parents' last words about responsibility and taking action. Padme summons all her remaining courage, standing up to reveal her identity as the Princess of Naboo. She demands the Gungans' help. The Gungans are shocked, yet delighted, as they now believe they can get a good reward selling her to the invaders. They remind her that the Naboo took all their land and now they live in swamps, that they have no loyalty to the Naboo. Padme slumps down, deflated and disheartened. Then she responds and agrees with them. She apologizes for the sins of her ancestors, but also tells them that the clone army is here to rule over all its inhabitants, Gungan and Naboo. She pledges that if they help, the Gungans will be treated as equal citizens to the Naboo. The Gungan chiefs discuss with heated debate, but eventually the head chief agrees. He, however, advises that the Gungans can't defeat this clone army, even with the rebel Naboo forces. Padme agrees, but states that they don't need to defeat them, as she knows someone else who can. Padme details a plan where the Gungans and remaining Naboo fighters will work together to draw the main clone army away from the city. At the same time, the Jedi will escort Padme to the Royal Palace's communication tower so she can send a signal to their allies. As the Gungan and Naboo forces march towards the capital city, the clone generals send their forces to intercept. Obi-Wan and Sharad escort the princess into the city through a secret royal passage. Owen and Anakin are told to stay behind. Anakin, however, becomes impatient and wants to help. He follows Padme and the Jedi. After pleading for him to stay, Owen reluctantly joins. As the Jedi enter the palace, they dispatch the remaining cloned soldiers, but are confronted by the hooded assassin, who casts aside his black robes, challenging the Jedi to a duel. Obi-Wan accepts the challenge and tells Padme to continue on. Maul, however, uses the Force to collapse a pillar, trapping Padme as he then attacks both Jedi. Anakin and Owen arrive. They try to free Padme, but the pillar is too heavy. Padme begins to lose her breath. She tells Anakin to use the Force. He concentrates, but he can't move it. She then takes his hand and tells him that she believes in him, that he can do it. Anakin closes his eyes, concentrates, and uses the Force to lift the pillar up, as Owen drags her out. She quickly recovers. Obi-Wan yells for them to continue on as he and Sharad battle the assassin. On the way to the Royal Palace's communications tower, Owen and Anakin get pinned down by clone soldiers firing on them. Padme hides in safety, but sees her new friends in danger. She again summons all her courage, picks up a blaster, emerging from a safe position, she fires at the soldiers. She manages to take out a few, but the rest divert their attention from Anakin and Owen to her. Just as they're about to fire, Owen and Anakin leap to action and take out the remaining soldiers. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Sherrod continue battling Maul in a spectacular fight throughout the palace, whilst the Gungan and Naboo forces are losing their battle with the clones. Padme, Anakin and Owen make it to the Royal Palace's communication tower and find Padme's uncle, Sio Amidala. He's surprised to see them and they explain their plan. Padme begins sending a message, but as she does, blaster fire hits the console, destroying it and cutting off the message. Owen is also injured in the explosion. They turn to see Padme's uncle with the blaster. He orders them away from the console at gunpoint. Meanwhile, the Gungan and Naboo forces are now in full retreat as the clones hunt them through the swamps and forests. The three prisoners are taken into the main hall where they look down at the two Jedi battling the assassin. The assassin gets the upper hand and injures Sherrod, taking him out of the fight. Sio aims his gun at Padme, prepared to do the dirty work for himself. All is lost. Just as he's about to shoot, a rumbling sound can be heard. The assassin and Obi-Wan stop fighting as they hear it too. Everyone looks outside, when an X-Wing flies over, firing at its enemy. Then more X-Wings fly over. "They got the message! Alderaan got the message!" Padme shouts with glee. Padme's uncle screams with frustration, returning his gun to Padme. She wrestles the gun from him and it falls down the stairs. The assassin and Obi-Wan continue their battle, but the assassin sees Alderaan soldiers flooding into the city. He leaves the duel as Obi-Wan moves to Sherrod's side. Padme and her uncle race down the stairs for the gun. Padme desperately fights her larger and stronger uncle. He overpowers her, but she summons all her strength to push him off and grab the blaster. Sio tries to talk his way out of it, but without notice, a red lightsaber pierces his body. The assassin laughs as Sio's body falls to the ground. He raises his lightsaber to strike Padme. Just as he does, Anakin uses the Force to hold back his strike, just for a few seconds, enough time for him to push Padme out of danger. The assassin, however, is only momentarily slowed, and attacks Anakin, injuring his arm and face. Obi-Wan arrives to stop the assassin from landing the killer blow. Alderaan forces flood into the palace. The assassin now has no choice but to flee to his ship and escape. Padme runs to Anakin's side, followed by Owen and Obi-Wan. Sherrod looks on as his master helps Anakin, while he lies injured and in pain. Obi-Wan senses his pain and anger, and returns to his side. The Alderaan forces secure the city and bring medical support for the injured. The next day, Anakin stands with Padme as they wait for the coronation ceremony. They engage in some friendly banter about her becoming a queen and even flirting. Padme steps up to receive her crown. The Gungans are in attendance, and she proclaims that they are now all citizens and equal in the eyes of the royal house and planetary law. The royal ship heads into hyperspace, surrounded by an armada of Alderaan X-Wings and battleships, headed for Coruscant. Later on Coruscant, the motion to ban cloning is passed. The Senate also brings charges against the Outer Rim cloners for their attack on Naboo. The Outer Rim senators protest their innocence, and many walk out in frustration and disgust. The assassin returns to his master. He offers his life for his failure. His master, still hidden from view, tells him death is too easy, that the battle is lost, but the war has not even begun, and that his apprentice needs to be made stronger. The assassin then screams in pain as electricity surges through his body. Padme approaches Anakin and Owen, who sit out the front of the Jedi main hall, awaiting judgment on his training. Padme thanks him for all his help, telling him that he'll be a great Jedi. Owen, however, thinks this is a mistake, and he should come back to Tatooine and stay out of the troubles. He's overheard that the Outer Rim are separating, and maybe even going to war. Anakin responds, Tatooine was never his home, just as Zygeria never was. But being a Jedi, that's something he can believe in. Obi-Wan emerges from the doors of the main hall with a large smile, announcing Anakin will be Obi-Wan's new apprentice. Padme asks, "What about your current apprentice?" Obi-Wan responds that they will find him a new master when he's fully recovered from his injuries. Anakin is excited at becoming a Jedi and seeing the galaxy. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts and feedback in the comments section. And most importantly, let us know if you want to see episode 2.